The following is a paid advertisement for Metrinch Tools.
Hey guys, I got to tell you what a tremendous success you've made out of the Metrinch multi-purpose tool introduction. And we know why we love these tools, because they work on metric, standard, and even worn and rounded nuts and bolts. And with over 100,000 sets sold, you have helped make Metrinch the tool of choice for professionals and backyard mechanics alike. So stick around and find out why the world's fastest growing tool design, Metrinch, is one case where you really do get more for your money.
Introducing Metrinch, the most versatile sockets and wrenches on earth. Each wrench and socket grab metric nuts and bolts, standard nuts and bolts, even worn or damaged nuts and bolts with more torque and a better grip than conventional tools. Many of Europe's most meticulous mechanics are now using Metrinch tools. And today, you can try Metrinch in a special free trial offer. Discover how Metrinch multi-purpose tools save you time and money on repairs and maintenance. How they help keep emergency vehicles on the road. And stay tuned to see if Metrinch tools can withstand even intentional abuse in our tool torture test. Now to present our sensational free offer for Metrinch tools, here's Joe Fowler.
You know, if you've done any work with tools lately, you know that more and more cars and machinery and equipment are being assembled with both metric and standard, you know, SAE, nuts and bolts. Let me ask you something. Have you ever used a standard wrench on a metric nut? I've done it. It doesn't work. In fact, bang! I practically busted my knuckles and I ruined the nut. Or, have you ever done this? You get the locking pliers and you think you're going to squeeze it on the nut and turn it, and you end up ruining the nut. Come on, that's why I was so interested when I heard about Metrinch. Sockets and wrenches that work on both metric, inch, and even damaged nuts. Twice the use out of half the tools. That's a lot less weight to carry around the old toolbox. So what's the secret? Well, Metrinch grabs the walls of the nut, not the corners, for a grip that spreads the force throughout the nut, and you get a superior hold. In fact, the more torque or pressure that you apply, the tighter the grip. Check this out. I want to show you a standard nut, a metric nut, and a worn nut. We've attached it to plexiglass so that you can see the difference between regular sockets and Metrinch. Now, we're going to try the regular SAE, the standard socket. Of course, it's going to work on the SAE nut. Moving to the metric nut, it almost works, but you can see that it's just barely grabbing the tiniest part of the corners, and if you added a little torque, it could fly right off, and there go the old knuckles again. And on the worn-out nut, look at this. Look at this. It just twirls around. No grab at all. All right, let's move to the metric socket. On the standard nut, not even going to work. Too small. It fits the metric nut, of course. Now, on the worn nut, look at this. Again, it twirls right around it. Doesn't grab it. Now, let's use the Metrinch socket. On the standard nut, look how much of the nut makes contact with the Metrinch socket. The torque is spread through all 6 walls of the nut to give you a safer, stronger grip with less effort, and at the same time it reduces the wear on both the fastener and the tool. Over to the metric nut, same story. You see, Metrinch sockets, they grab the walls, not the corner. And since it grabs all 6 walls instead of the corners, watch this. On the ruined, damaged nut, it grabs it. It's been damaged, but it still grabs the nut. The standard didn't grab it. The metric didn't grab it, but the Metrinch socket grabbed all 3 of the nuts. Now think of the many advantages of having one set of tools for metric and standard. You're going to carry fewer tools, and you're going to do a lot more with them. And that means a lighter toolbox. Don't just take my word for it. In fact, check out what others are saying about the effectiveness of Metrinch.
I'm a diesel mechanic here at Ecology Auto Wrecking. I'm in charge of maintenance and repairs of all semi-equipment and trailers and some heavy-duty equipment. When you're a mechanic for many years, you go through this quite a few times. You cut your hand, bust a knuckle, hit an elbow. And with the Metrinch, it's got a good grab on all your bolts and nuts, either standard or metric. It's got a good grab, and you kind of eliminate that problem. Because it's compact, it's easier to get to them. I don't have to carry a big, huge toolbox. It saves a lot of time, saves money, you know. The company The boss is happy, actually. They don't pay you for walking, they pay you for working on the cars.
My father was a mechanic, has been since 1939. I was brought up working on cars. I did my first engine overhaul at the age of 10. The Metrinch tool set has a great advantage in that we have the ability to switch over from metric or American-sized nuts and bolts. If you got a rusted nut that's been rounded off, the Metrinch will get in there, grab one of the flats, and take it right off. And I think it's a great set.
What we do here is we take the bicycles in here and we fix them up, make sure they're safe and rideable, and donate these bicycles to charitable organizations and needy people. Many of the bikes come in really rough condition. They come in rusted, and some of these nuts and bolts are pretty destroyed when they come in here. The Metrinch system works well on worn nuts and bolts, I found out. It also works well on metric and standard. The Metrinch covers just about everything you need in sizes, in variety. You don't need much else.
Domestics, European, Jaguars, Rolls-Royces, old cars, Volkswagens, you name it, we do it. I've been turning wrenches for 25 years. You name tools, I've had them. Snap-on, Mac, whatever. Craftsman, anything you want to talk about, I've had it. With this Metrinch, you're working on a metric bolt, you switch to an American bolt, and half of these cars that are coming out now are half and half. The same socket fits the same bolt. What a shortcut. It holds the bolt tighter than I've ever felt the bolt tight. I wish they would have came along 25 years ago when they first started. I tell you what, I'd have a lot more money in my pocket. This is the answer.
I have a Harley Davidson, and my wife has a Honda. Two different sizes of nuts, bolts, one's metric, one's standard. When I work on them, I don't like to keep going back inside the garage, search for my metric, search for my standards. I have them all out here in one little packet. It takes care of everything. To do the same function this kit does, you'd need 3 sets of tools, because you have the metrics, you have the standards, and then when you come to the nuts that you messed up before because you didn't have the right sizes, these will loosen or tighten rounded off nuts. 25 years ago, they put a man on the moon. What took them so long to come up with Metrinch?
If you're anything like me, you love going to the hardware store and drooling over all that merchandise. But let's be honest, when you do buy those tools, you want the highest quality tools that you can afford. Am I right? That's why I'm so proud to be part of the introduction of Metrinch tools to America. See, to achieve the best tools, you have to begin with the best steel alloy. Metrinch tools are made with chrome vanadium steel. This is a super tough alloy, and it provides a great margin of safety when subjected to extreme torque stress. You also have a highly polished finish on the Metrinch tools. Oh, it's not just for visual reasons. It does look great, but it's also an excellent protection against rust, even in harsh conditions. Their patented design puts the grip on the walls of the metric, inch, even worn fasteners. Not the corners, the walls. And that gives you a superior no-slip hold. Talk about value. There's a vast selection of Metrinch tools for professional as well as industrial applications, but this special toolkit was selected by tool experts to cover 99% of everyone's tool needs. What do you get? You get a full complement of 21 Metrinch sockets, from the large 7/8 inch, 22 millimeter, all the way down to this 3/16 inch, 5 millimeter. There's an additional 7 deep sockets. Now, these are all thin-walled designs, yet they're 1.5 times stronger than conventional sockets. Plus, a 3/8 1/4 inch adapter. What else do you get? You get this heavy-duty ratchet handle with a quick-release 3/8 inch drive. Plus, this 6-inch extension bar with wobble. It's fantastic. If you've ever used a wobble, you know how handy it is around those impossible-to-reach angles. Plus, you get a 1/4 inch drive spinner handle, a 2-inch extension bar, a 3/8 inch universal joint, and 2 sizes of Metrinch spark plug sockets to fit any spark plug you can imagine. Just what I've described so far will be worth over $250, and for Metrinch versatility and lifetime quality, it would be worth it. Remember now, we're talking about the equivalent of 74 top-of-the-line, lifetime guaranteed tools. Well, there's more. Here's an added bonus, and I think this is just terrific. Take a look at this. This is a 1/4 inch finger drive ratchet. You're going to love the convenience of this handy finger ratchet alone or in combination with the spinner handle, for hard-to-get-at and small fastener jobs. This little beauty alone would cost you almost $25 from a tool truck. Well, Metrinch has included it in the kit.